So a question I get a lot is, when is the best time to sell my home and just move in general? And how do I maximize the value? So before I jump into that, the best answer to that question is it really depends on you. And what I mean by that is, when is it the best time for you in your particular situation and your life to make a move? So that being said, we're gonna give you some nuggets today, covering the main data across the nation that most people look at and pay attention to before they make their decision on when it's the best time to move for them. So if you could pick one time of year that would be the best time of year to sell, when would that be? So according to most reports, homes listed for sale in May ended up selling for 1.6% more than the annual average across the nation. But here's the thing. Every market, every neighborhood, and every city behaves a little different, especially places like San Diego. So I'm gonna walk you through some of the national data, how it applies to you locally, and what you should do no matter what time of year you're planning on selling. So timing matters because every buyer is different and every neighborhood is different. And this is why it's very important to hire the right agent, so you make sure that you're targeting the right buyer at the right time. For example, neighborhoods full of families and good schools and things like that, then we see the most movement typically in the springtime when families start to plan their move in the summer to make sure they're in their new home before the next school year starts. Now, we don't really have to experience this in San Diego, but weather can be a big thing. For example, in the summertime, it's really good time to sell typically in San Diego. Now, if you go out to Phoenix and it's 140 degrees out, that's their slow season. Also, another thing with weather, curb appeal can be a little bit better. In the springtime when everything's blooming, it can look beautiful. In other parts of the country, fall is a beautiful place. I grew up in Oregon and fall is amazing up there. So more active buyers, creating the best presentation of the property possible in a time where you have the most reasonable amount of competition on the market is always going to be the best time to sell. Now that's going to be different depending on the marketplace. Like I said before, if you're in a town that's popular or part of town that's popular for the schools versus downtown versus places like Julian where it's snowing in the winter, it can be different any time of year. So in general, the best time to list your home based on the national data would be between April and May. And San Diego's data has shown this pretty consistently over the years. Now, I want to clarify, that's the best time to list your home. That means that they sold June, July, August, or somewhere around there. That's why the data would show that we have the best time to sell is in the summer. But that's the closing period, okay? The best time to list your home statistically is April, May, and parts of June gloom. So even though May is statistically the best time to hit the market, there's not just one magical day either. And I want you to keep in mind that this is just general information. Market conditions and a lot of other factors can come into play. For example, now this is a one-off. I'm going to go back to COVID. Historically, here in San Diego, things tend to hit the brakes in September. Now, in that year, things took off in September and was slammed for the rest of the year, but dead throughout the beginning months when we're usually really busy. Why is that? Everybody was unsure what was happening in the market. So market conditions and what the leading trends on where we're thinking the market is going is the most important thing. This is why don't just plan on your own to interview an agent knowing that you're going on the market in May. Talk to somebody or a few people months prior to make sure that whatever month that you pick to go on the market is the best time for you and your family, and it's the best time for your neighborhood and current market conditions. So a lot of people have their opinions on a bad time to sell, and I want to give you mine. I don't believe there is a bad time to sell, a bad time to buy, or a bad time to move. I think there is such thing as a bad seller, such thing as a bad buyer, and having the wrong strategy. Now, what do I mean by that? So let me give you an example. So if the market trends that we track every month are predicting that the market might be going down soon, and the overall historic trends say that we are in line for a possible reduction of prices coming into the marketplace, and you're someone that wants to buy, but you have a 2-year exit strategy. That means you want to buy a house and sell it in 2 years, but all the market data is saying that in 2 years, we're likely to be less than we are now. That's not a bad buy, that's a bad strategy. And why is it not a bad buy? Because if you decide to hold on to it for 10 or 15 years, it's obviously going to go up a lot. Does that make sense? So let me give you one more example. So if you're someone that's looking to sell their home and buy in the same marketplace, for example, you want to buy a single family home in San Diego and buy a different single family home in San Diego, but you're waiting for the current home that you have to go up in value, guess what happens with the one you're buying? It goes up in value too. So what changes in that? So that You will likely pay more taxes on your sell, and then your property taxes will be based off of a tax basis of a higher price point because you waited. Not a good strategy. Now, a better strategy would be, is it possible to buy this one lower and hold on to this home and watch that one go up and then sell it? Keep your property taxes low and maximize your value on that. That's a good strategy. This is what I mean by there's not necessarily a bad time to buy or a bad time to sell, but there is such thing as a bad strategy. San Diego is kind of a unique place compared to the rest of the nation. For example, our mild weather that doesn't really change significantly throughout the year, but there's a lot of places across the nation that a lot of different things change in the marketplace that we don't experience here. And so one of the things that I see that people make a mistake on is paying attention to mostly the national data. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but the national data factors in way different marketplaces than San Diego is. So look at the national data, yes, but pay attention to San Diego local market data over the national data. So what would you be looking for as market data here in San Diego? Number of new listings to hit the market every 30 days compared to the number of listings that come off the market in the same 30 days. Simple supply and demand. Average days on market compared to the month before, the year before. Number of homes for sale or inventory. I'm sure you've heard that word a lot over the years. And see how that compares to last month and the month before that and even last year to see the trends on where the market is headed locally. Get in the habit of searching for homes that have sold within your neighborhood. And you can do this on pretty much any website. Or if you'd like, I can hook you up on a system that we have that will automatically notify you either weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly of homes that have sold that are comparable to yours in general within your neighborhood. So you pull up an email and you can look at a list of everything that's sold. But this makes it so you yourself can get a good idea of where your home lands in the rankings of sales within your own neighborhood, and give that a little bit of time. So at the end of the day, the best time to sell really depends on where you're at in your life, when it's the best time within your life, for your family, for your situation. That is always going to be what matters most. So a couple action items you can take. First of all, do not do this alone. Long before you plan on making the move, meet with a real estate agent or a local professional or somebody that you're comfortable with. Interview a couple people to find the right one for you, but don't do it alone. This person can help you start planning long before you're ready to sell. Another mistake, and another reason why I don't think you should do this alone, is what we see is we get people that reach out to us that say, hey, Ryan, I want to sell. Can we meet? And I go meet. And then they tell me, well, I just dumped a whole bunch of money into the house on things that don't necessarily change the outcome of your sale. So before you start to make repairs or add value to your house or things like that, don't do it alone. Bring in the right person to help you make the best decisions for you and your family. Thanks for watching this video. Hey guys, we'll see you next time.